When we talk about stress, sometimes the individual can be confused because there's so much changing at any point in time. So, when you can really hone in on their work style and internal motivators, you can help not only guide them but support them along these challenges and through the change curve faster. And a great tool to use for that is DISC. So, through this data driven science, it can release that personal offense that you might have of why this is just so difficult and not difficult for them, why my leader might be asking me these questions. Are they asking other people questions? And when you can use this database tool, it gets rid of all those defensive reactions and gets down to a plan of action. And when we talk about stress, they're going to be on the defense because that's just our natural mechanism. So let's talk about stress utilizing this DISC database tool. Let's talk about D's. This is a dominance factor, and I like to call them reds. So, in this type of stress behavior, you might be seeing more forceful or bold behavior where they want to push things forward at a very fast pace. They might be restless or short with people, and then they're going to be very over demanding. And that's obviously going to rub people the wrong way, especially when a team is stressed. So, for D's, you want to encourage focus based problem solving. And what that's going to do is show a sense of progress right away to them. And the stress will be reduced because they're going to feel back in control, and having those little checkpoints and micro steps identified will show them that there is action being taken place. Now let's take a look at I's. I's are our yellows, so this is influence. And these are our people-centric type of behavior people. And the stress behavior that they're going to have is being over-optimistic. Let's make it to next quarter. Let's make it through this project and then everything will be fine. And sometimes that can rub people the wrong way because there's a mix of optimism that you need in challenging times. But if you get away from the reality of it, that can be seen as toxic. So you want to guide that stress behavior over to little micro breaks to just let them recenter and see the whole picture, because sometimes they can get spiraling out of control on the optimism. And then sometimes they can be critical of others. So-and-so isn't doing their part, and so-and-so said they would do this and they didn't. And they can be very nitpicky, blame and deflection. So we want to make sure that they have space and a voice to allow that constructive feedback in a team so that it doesn't, again, go into the negative feedback side. And then they could be seen as sarcastic because they're overly optimistic. And we want to make sure that, again, we're giving space not only for their voice, but for brainstorming solutions, because that's where that's coming from. So refreshing that connection and team building will allow them to recharge through social interactions. Let's go to our S's. So S's are most likely to be the people that aren't seen as stressed out, but they are stressed out because they're more behind the scenes. And they will be, out of the four, the most resist change. So they have a longer change curve. The cool thing with that is they're seeing the gaps as change goes on. But you do need to guide them a little bit more and give them space. They could be seen as stubborn and stuck into old ways, traditional thinking. And then they could be judgmental of others, again, because they're flying forward. They're not thinking of other people. They're changing things without getting consensus of the group. So you want to make sure in stressful situations that S's, or a supportive group, is being reinforced on the predictability of the situation. So when you are changing software, for example, other things in your processes might not be changing. And so you want to reinforce the things that aren't changing and are staying the same. And then if you are going through a big change and there's a lot of stress, make sure that you have small, consistent steps and showing them that we're progressively moving forward and there's not going to be this giant switch that they're going to overreact to. So you want to kind of guide them through the change curve. Now let's go to our C's. These are our database behavior type people, our blues, compliance. And they like to investigate and dig in, see the credibility of where we're going, really have a good view of next steps, because they want to feel confident based off of the data, based off the information that they have. So that's what we have to give them. The stress behaviors that you might see are they're getting too investigative, too deep diving when we don't need to. They might be over calculating or overdoing it in an area that we've already closed up. And then they might be seen as indecisive. So they're thinking about it. And then they're thinking about it. And then they're thinking about it. And maybe we'll do it, but also then I just had this day and it would be good to stay with the old approach. And then maybe this day we'll go to this approach. Nope, let's stay with the old approach, so that indecisiveness will come in. So with high C's, you want to simplify the process so that they don't get into this over investigation, into all these black holes that can come up. You want to simplify the approach and the process for them so they know next steps and know what's coming. And then they regain this energy away from stress with clear and organized systems. So again, if you have a very clear strategic plan, everyone's on board, it's being communicated very well, C's will be a lot less stressed on this change journey and be able to join the team a little faster. Now, the other benefits that you see in DISC is in the other videos and some videos coming up, so make sure that you subscribe, share out to your company on the different benefits within DISC. So we talked about some of the stressors. There's other things within the DISC profile that brings a data-based approach to really evaluate who's in your team and how you can support them, why someone's difficult and someone else is not, the different work styles that automatically will have conflict and start diffusing that through tools and techniques. And the database tool will give you the communication styles, it will give you some time wasters, it will give you their internal motivators so you can align people's jobs to where they internally motivate regardless of pay and benefits, which we all love when people are internally motivated and passionate behind the work that they do. And then where are those strengths and conflicts going to be, so you can start a development plan within the team, within the individual, to start moving things forward before they even happen. And that's how you build resiliency. And soft skills like communicating with people and working well with one another, healthy conflict, doesn't come easy to some. So using a database tool will back it up and give a data-based approach to different behaviors. And when you can bring understanding, it can reduce conflict and stress.